Alright guys, you saw the title from this video. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing a 700 elo game that has like 10 blunders, and it actually has a brilliant move in it. And by the way guys, let me just say something really quickly. This is actually a fan suggestion, and this game does not end how you would expect it to end. Especially if you watch the entire thing. Before I begin guys, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subs, I would really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop super thanks. By the way guys, if it's difficult to hear my voice because of how fast I speak, or maybe my voice just isn't that clear because my mic just isn't that good, just turn on captions. Without further ado, let's just begin. So basically guys, our protagonist is playing with the black pieces, and their opponent is playing with the white pieces. And their opponent starts off the game with d4, which is a book move. Then they play d5, then their opponent plays c4, which is the queen's gambit. Instead, they just decline it with knight to c3, I think. Well, no, apparently knight to f6. Okay, yeah. And then their opponent plays knight to c3. And then we have the development of this knight. Well, no. Yeah, I think of this knight. c6. Well, no, apparently not yet. Instead, we have takes. So basically, the queen's gambit has been accepted now. They push a pawn, their opponent, and now they have complete control over the center. And yeah, this pawn is going to be recaptured very soon. Basically, guys, really quick thing that I would like to recommend to all of you, especially people who are like below 1000 elo, you should never accept the queen's gambit because it just leads to your opponent recapturing the pawn and just having total control over the center. So really, there is no benefit of this. Like, and if you try to hold onto this pawn with a move like b5, it's not good because they can just do something like this. And if you take, they can just take it back with the knight. And like, you can try to hold on to it, but it's generally just not worth it. That's what I mean. Anyways, they play knight c6, which is apparently an inaccuracy, but okay, I think it's an okay move, especially at this level, because, you know, this is like an average level of chess. Generally, I'd say like 800 elo is like the average. Then we have knight to f3, which is apparently the best move, and it is the best move, even in my opinion, because like, it develops a piece. And I know that like Stockfish is much better than me, obviously. So yeah, whatever Stockfish says is best is usually best. Well, not usually, almost always, but still. Then we have pawn to g4, which is a book move. And I've never seen a book move played after a move that isn't a book move. But okay, I did not know that was possible. Anyways, we have pawn to e5, obviously just kicking out this knight. And instead, we have bishop takes. The idea is danger levels, because like if you take the knight, then I'll just take the queen. That's the idea. So the queen captures the bishop, and now the knight has to move. And apparently there was actually a trap. I'm not sure where, but okay. Oh, this. I think. Because, like, if you capture, then you just lose the queen. Oh. Yeah, but obviously this is, well, 700 elo, so obviously you didn't see this. Instead we have knight to d7, which at this level is still okay. And, like, I know it just undevelops the knight, and the knight can't really go anywhere now. I mean, it has to go over here, and it still can't go anywhere because of this pawn. So, yeah, this move is not very good. But, okay. Then we have bishop captures the pawn. And now you can see why accepting the queen's gambit is not a good idea at all. Because, yeah, it just leads to your opponent developing their pieces instantly. And, yeah, that pawn that you won, they're going to recapture it in like 2 or 3 moves. And if you try to hold on to it, it will just make the situation even worse. But, obviously, our protagonist notices the threat over here. Because this is practically just a scholar's mate, pretty much. And they play pawn to e6. And if this move wasn't played, then we probably wouldn't even have a video. By the way, guys, really quick thing that I'd like to mention. So today I actually played a game, and my opponent, who was rated like 1150 elo, they actually tried to use Scholar's Mate against me. I defended against it, and then I accidentally moved my queen away from the pawn, and yeah, I lost. Yeah, I know. Me, at 1200 elo, I lost to Scholar's Mate. We don't talk about that. Anyways, we have short castle. Then we have knight takes. Thankfully, our protagonist noticed this move. Now the queen has to move. And the queen apparently takes over here on b7. I don't think this is an inaccuracy because, like, you know, you are kind of attacking this area. But, like, nothing else can really be captured. And maybe the queen could get trapped. Actually, yeah, the queen can almost get trapped. Like, with a move like this. Oh, wow, the queen only has, like... The queen either has to go here, where it will probably just get attacked even more. Like, if you do something like this. Yeah, it's not good, and then you can probably just do something like this, so they think that you blundered. And then, yeah, you can just capture, or something like that. But I don't know why this move is totally losing. Honestly, I have no idea why, but okay. Oh, because they can do this. Oh, what? Okay, I guess I just don't know anything. Anyways, okay, so what happens is that the knight also captures over here, and now the position is basically equal. Well, no, it's slightly in favor of white, even though black is up by 1 pawn. Then we have bishop to g5, obviously just trying to, I think, divert the queen. That's the idea, because like if the queen captures, then yeah, white will just capture the rook. And then like the game, it's very bad for black, but okay. Then we have pawn push on f6. Bishop has to retreat. And this is apparently a blunder. The reason is because this literally just loses a bishop in one move. And thankfully, our protagonist does find this move. Yeah, it just loses a bishop in one move instantly. So this bishop captures over here, obviously trying to attack the queen. Generally, at this point, what I recommend is just trying to get trade, because like, if you can get this, then you'd be like putting an attack on the bishop over here, and then maybe like you can try bring the knight to attack this rook, and maybe if this rook moves over here, you can just attack both at the same time and capture one. That's what I'd recommend. And yes, our protagonist does actually offer a queen trade, but white refuses. Because, I mean, they are down on material. And really quick thing, guys, if you are down on material, never accept trades, because, yeah, if you do, it'll just make it less likely that you can make, like, a counterplay that takes back. But instead, our protagonist moves the knight over here. And now, white really is losing, because this attacks the rook and the queen at the same time. So they're going to lose something. I mean, sure, they can capture the knight over here, and I think that's what they do. Yeah, they do. And yeah, our protagonist just captures the rook. And they actually don't recapture the knight. Instead, the queen moves, giving a check. And what I recommend is just blocking, and I think they blocked. Yeah, they did. The queen trades, the king has to recapture, it's forced, and the bishop moves back. And in this situation, what I'd recommend is just sacrificing the knight to attack the king and kind of just break the king's defense, because, well, there's no way you're going to save this knight, so honestly, you may as well. But instead, we have bishop to d6, which is offering a trade. And the trade is accepted. Now the king finally recaptures the knight. Then we have rook to b8. Obviously, just trying to attack this pawn with no defenders. I think this is what happens. And no, that's apparently not what happens. Okay. Instead, we have, I think, pawn to d3. Well, no, not pawn to d3. Pawn to b3. Yeah. Then we have rook to c8. Obviously, just trying to attack this knight. Knight moves with a check. I think the king went over here. Well, no, apparently not. Maybe here. Yes. Okay. I'm just sort of trying to guess the moves at the same time, but okay. So the knight moves back. And now with black, what you should do is try to like get the two rooks together and then go over here and force a trade like this pretty much. Right? Yeah, like this. So now what you'll be left with is a rook, and they'll only be left with a knight, and yeah, a rook versus knight, the rook will always win. So yeah, they prepare this attack. And I would recommend actually sacrificing this pawn just so the attack works. Or you can just attack. And instead, apparently, the best move isn't actually to attack the knight. It's actually just prepare this, you know, to like force a trade. White gives a check. The king just walks away. And yeah, this defends against the square. So now, like, if you were to do this, it would be practically a draw. So instead, black decides to attack the knight. Knight has to move. And now we have this. A forced trade. Then the king has to move. I mean, it's the only legal move anyways. It's forced. The pawn moves. Knight attacks. The rook moves. The pawn moves. A check is given. The king moves. And pawn moves. And now with black, what you should do is just push all your pawns, and eventually one of them will probably just reach the end somehow. Especially if you have a rook. Like, you can probably just do something like this and then just attack this pawn maybe. The only way they could defend it is with like this. And if they do defend, just bring your king up, and yeah, basically guaranteed win. The king moves. They attack. The king moves again, and the reason this is a losing move is because what you can do, now this didn't happen in the game, but what you can do is just capture the knight. Because if the king recaptures, yeah, it's mate in 18, because you can just push the pawn and there's no stopping it. And now it's actually mate in 6. Wait, let me try to find it. Maybe something like this. Oh. Well, that's just sad. Anyways. Okay. Let's just go back. So what happens instead is rook to d2, I think. Yeah, just attacking the knight. And instead we have pawn push. Now what you should do is really just capture the knight, but that doesn't happen. Instead the pawn is captured and the knight survives. Then we have rook takes. Then we have pawn push. Then we have pawn to e3. Knight moves. The rook takes. Pawn moves again. And now at this point, you should really do something about this pawn. But instead, we have pawn to e2. And now the game is actually winning for white. Because, yeah, if you just keep going, it's not going to work because, like, yeah. Well, yeah, we actually do have pawn to a7. Because, listen, if you promote this pawn, the knight just recaptures. And this promotion is totally unstoppable. There is nothing you can do about it. Because, like, even if you give a check and the king moves, as long as they stay, like, on here or here, like, yeah, and not going, like, somewhere like here, this pawn, it cannot be stopped. So we have a check. The king has to move. Then we have rook moves. The pawn promotes, obviously. Then we have a check. The king moves, and now this is the brilliant move. Rook to d3. It's literally the only move that saves the game and prevents it from not being a draw. The reason is because if you take, which is what happens in the game, I promote. And now the game is a total draw. Because no one can, like, realistically, without making a blunder, promote their pawn. Like, unless the other side makes a blunder, they can't, like, promote their own pawn. And a queen versus a queen is a draw, and the king versus a king is obviously a draw, so yeah, it's a total draw, but it does not end how you expect. So the queen moves, and apparently this is actually winning for black. And now, guys, let me tell you something. Okay. There are 6 legal moves. Here, 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 and here. One of them keeps the advantage of being +4. 4 of them make the game a draw, and one of them loses the game. And this is a 700 elo game, so what do you expect? Obviously, our protagonist chose the move that loses the game in one move. And their opponent actually found the move, e7, because it just captures the queen. The king can't defend the queen, and the queen can't move out of the way. So the king moves over here, the queen gets captured, and now the game is totally dead lost for black. They push pawn to g6, then we have the queen giving a check, then the king has to move, then the pawn, well, no, not the pawn, the queen attacks the pawn. The king moves, I think this happens, yeah. Now the king goes over here, the queen captures, the king moves, and now this pawn is also being promoted, obviously just promote it into a queen, and then just probably, like, just make an attack over here. Let me just make it really quickly. Like, make an attack over here, just attack the king, and then do, like, a ladder checkmate, probably. Then we have pawn to f5, then pawn to h5, pawn to f4, and at this point, black resigned because they realized there's no hope in a position like this, because if you continue... Wait. Like, no matter where you go... Yeah, it's going to be checkmate. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. And that doesn't happen. And, yeah, black resigned. Because, I mean, they have less than 10 seconds, and this position, there's absolutely no way to win this. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, what did we just watch? Let's have a very quick review. A normal opening, and for some reason the queen's gambit was accepted, which you should never accept, but okay. And then development of pieces, somehow a book move after a move that wasn't a book move, but okay. Then a missed strategy, and a defense against a scholar's mate. And then a few blunders here and there. And then a few occasional trades. And then a massive attack on the king's side, which forced a trade. And then kind of just pawn promotion attempts, and black not finding the winning move of just capturing the knight. And then, yeah, the knight survived. And eventually the pawns kept trying to promote. And eventually black gave a check and attacked the knight, but it didn't achieve anything. So they gave this check, white moved, and then they captured, which was the only brilliant move in the game. White had to capture back, and then eventually black accidentally blundered their queen. And yeah, that's how the game went. Eventually, white just couldn't be stopped. And then mate was actually on the board, mate in 9. And then, yeah, that's just how the game ended. Eventually, with less than 10 seconds, black resigned. And yeah, guys, that's the whole game. Every move, like over here from f3 to queen h5, oh no, queen f5, checkmate. It was actually just me messing around, because you can see there isn't even a clock, you know, like how I messed around in the video. And yeah, guys, that's the whole video. If you enjoyed this, please drop a like and subs. I would really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop a super thanks. Comment down below any games you may want me to review, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And the person that suggested this game, if you comment on this video, I can pin your comment, okay? I do that with, like, everyone who suggests games. Without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Bye, guys. See you in the next video.